Hello everyone, welcome to my channel or LinkedIn profile, wherever you're watching this video. In this session today, we'll be learning about Python basics. So, and in this session today, specifically, if you don't have any prior idea about programming, but have any some kind of tech background, it will be good enough. But if not, no worries. This is will be starting from pretty basics, so it's fine if you don't have any idea about Python or any programming language before. Okay, I'll be explaining that way only. This is going to be a bit longer than usual, so sit tight and have everything that you need. Okay, now very first, I'm going to talk about what are the topics we are going to cover today. Okay, so let me tell you those things. Okay, so here you go. First, we learn what is Python. Then we learn Python a bit history about the Python. Then some important use cases about Python. Then about how to install Python. Now that's pretty basic, but I'll still want to go through all that. Then we'll go through Python keyword, like what are the reserved keyword that you may not define as a variable, or you may not define as a other, like you cannot do anything other than what is described in the particular keyword or what is defined for the particular keyword. You cannot do anything beyond that. Okay, so those kind of stuff. Then we'll write our very first program, like hello world. If you new to programming, the very first program we actually start with actually hello world. Okay, so that's how it's called hello world programming. Okay, now then we'll learn about Python variables, which kind of like you cannot just directly use terms or sentences. I mean, you can certainly, but you should not. You have to think in your mind. You have to do code reuse, and you have to define variable and use it anywhere that you want. And we'll come to what is variable, how to use. We'll come to all that. Don't worry. Then we'll learn about Python data types, then data type conversion, then Python operators like plus, minus, divide, and all the stuff. Then conditional using if else. Then for loop, like if there is a lot of data, you should put in an array and it should some run kind of loop. For that reason, we'll be doing in the loop also. So there is two kind of loop: for loop and while loop. We'll be covering that. Then we'll cover basic functions and modules and error handling. Now this is the first session. Of course, there will be next week. There will be another advanced Python. There will be projects. There will be real use cases using Boto 3 and other tools and software. So a lot to learn. So stay tight. And first, we will learn about what exactly is Python, and we'll just get introduced to Python. Okay. Now, if let me see how many people are live at the moment. I see yes, people getting live already. 15 people. So yeah, it will. If someone joining late, they can always watch the recorded version and can continue. So wherever you are, you feel free to continue from this step only. This is the intro part, right? So now, what exactly is Python? Now, if we think about any programming language that's created by some creator for a particular purpose, so let's understand why Python is there. So Python is a high-level general purpose programming language created by Guido van Rossum, and again sorry if I pronounce it wrong. So Guido van Rossum, and first released in 1991, my birth year by the way, and it is known for its readability, simplicity, ease of use, and which has made it popular among both beginners and experienced programmers. Some reason why Python popularity, we can just talk about all these points here. That is readable and concise syntax, which is Python's syntax is designed to be easily understandable with a focus on readability. And here you don't use curly braces. If if you have any programming background, suppose Java or JavaScript, those cases we'll see you have to use third brackets, second brackets, and all, right? So those, we call it curly braces. So you don't have to use those here. Okay, and this allows for faster development and easier maintenance of code. Indentation is used to define code blocks. So code blocks we used to define using curly braces. Here we will be using indentation for that one. Okay, and which actually make this code readability or visually organized. It's look more cleaner, that kind of thing. Then second point, versatility. So Python is versatile language that can be used for a wide range of applications such as web development, data analysis, artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, and web development. Now this point, this part we're talking about high level general purpose programming language. That means there are a lot of use cases, right? And a general purpose means you can use it for any kind of purpose. Okay, be it web development, be it some CLI application you're developing, be it any machine learning program you're developing, be it any data science, be it any web development, API development, could be anything. I mean, you just imagine something that you want to develop as a programming, and most probably you can use Python for that. Now, the third point, extensive standard library. So Python comes with a large standard library that includes many built-in modules and functions for common tasks, reducing the need for external libraries and allowing developers to be more productive. Now, about this point, there are a lot of programming languages available on the market, right? But Python is one of such programming language where you have like whatever you need, be it you want to read from Excel, be it you want to fetch API from GitHub, or entire GitHub integration using Python is already available in the market, or maybe anything that you imagine. Okay, you will have everything available in the Python as a form of either system inbuilt modules, or it could be external. If you go to Python, I mean, you can install external modules using Python pip. There is a for Python the package manager is pip. So using pip you can download all that. Okay, then strong community support. So Python is a large active community of developers who contribute to the language development and maintain a vast ecosystem of open source libraries and frameworks as well, making it easier to find solution for a common I think I was so that was saying that Python is a large active community of developers who contribute to the large, of course, language development, maintain a vast ecosystem of open source libraries and frameworks, making it easier to find solution to the common problems and learn from others. So, suppose you're developing something, okay, and you need something. If it's you want to like instead of spending hours or days, what if the thing that you want to develop could be already built by someone and available as an open source stuff? Like you can just get it and make as a part of your code. It saves your time. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If it's already, I mean, that in the sense that you already code is available in the market, you can just quickly grab it and use it. Then why you waste, or not waste, I'll say, why you put so much of time and effort to develop that? It's already available. So that kind of support you get through communities. So many engineers out there who's maybe creating say public GitHub repos and sharing their code with the people. So you have that kind of support there. Then cross platform compatibility. So Python is available on various uh, uh, platform including Windows, Mac OS, Linux, allowing developers to write code that can run multiple operating system with minimal changes. Now, why you are saying that? Okay, is saying that uh, that if you write once Python, okay, you just I mean, any programming in general has this kind of support, but Python in general also have a support that if you write in Python and Python, Python binary or Python actual language support is installed in any other platform, be it suppose you develop in say MacBook. For my MacBook, I'm developing Python in MacBook. If I share my Python code with other people, maybe for example, other person, I'm sharing with my other developer friend who have say Windows, or maybe I'm sharing the code with another developer friend who have Linux. So in that case, if they install Python in their machine, and if I share my code and I share a requirement file, they can install the requirements files and they can simply run the application that I've shared with him. So that's very easy and convenient, isn't it? Then the sixth point, excellent support for integration. Now Python can be easily integrated with other languages like C, C++, Java, allowing developer to use existing libraries and or optimize performance critical code. So it's of course it's so much community backup, so much acceptability out there. So there are easy integration available for other programming languages. Okay. Now these are the factors contribute to Python's popularity among various industries and make it a great choice for a wide range of programming tasks. Now, at this moment in the current market, the two most demanded programming language is JavaScript and Python. So if you want to become a Python programmer or DevOps engineer or cloud engineer, you have to do some automation tasks, right? So that automation, or maybe web development or API development or some machine learning also, a lot of use cases, right? So Python become more or less kind of a critical skill to have for all the developers and cloud engineers and DevOps engineers. Okay, now While going through all that, let's learn a bit about their history. So Python history. Okay. Now Python is, history is very interesting. So it's all started by Guido van Rossum on 1980. Then it took around, you can see that, 11 years. Then the first release was happened on Python 0.9.0 on 1991. Then after that, again it took so many years. That Python 2, like on the year 2000, Python 2.0 was released, and if you see on 2008, so after around 8 years, Python 3.0 was released. Now, before 2008, so many computers, so many places, it is Python 2.0. After 2008, there was a rush to upgrade all the systems and all. And now currently, if we say, and after, I think it's 2000, right? So after this many years, it kind of becomes standard that you should be using Python 3.x or 3.8 or 9 something is kind of the stable version. So people are using this. But if you are going to write program on Python, you should always use Python latest version. Okay, that's the recommended part. Okay, so yeah, we learned something about the history, because history is important. History tell us how it started. How, see, we think about learning Python in 1 week or 1 day, or maybe some people say they maybe learn within a few months. It happens. Application that took so many years of development, so many developer and engineers to build it, right? How can you learn in some 1 hour or in this video? No, I can introduce you to the programming and all that. I can tell you how to get started, but you will have to, like, so much things to explore, right? So if these things take so much time to develop, of course it takes at least some time to learn, right? So you have to put efforts for that. Now I will come to the efforts part later on also. Don't worry. I will give you some assignment after the end of this session. Hopefully, you guys, you guys will do that assignment, and of course, feel free to tag me in some, posts and all, where if you are writing there. Okay. Okay. Now, what are the use cases? Now, I think in the intro itself, I explained a lot of, but at least the basic use cases I've explained, right? Now, application development, and it's kind of one of the most famous use case. Okay, and there are a lot of frameworks available, like say Django, Pyramid, Bottle, Tornado, Flux. Now, out of this, the most famous two are Flask and Django, where the application development happens. I mean, see, you can develop Python APIs using their say web libraries, right? But what happens, there is some request response, some structuring and all this. If something, as I said, if one engineer have developed a better framework, have the code already ready, why not reuse it? So this framework is developed by many engineers and available openly. Instead of doing all the basic stuff, you just go there and start using that. That's better, right? Now, uh, here one thing. Now, Python is a programming, okay? Now, programming has different use cases, and we're talking about the web development, right? Now, for this web development part specifically, you need to understand how the client server architecture work, and you are developing APIs, right? So you have to understand. I mean, I think you will need a bit of knowledge on HTML. You don't have to know CSS, but it's good if you know that, since you are going to develop web APIs. And of course, main point is that in APIs, of course, you are doing some business logic, but after all this processing happens, you are taking requests, you're requesting, you're accepting data from the users, right? You get the data, you process stuff, and then you have to send responses. And while you send the responses, there are some HTTP status code, like HTTP status code 200 means success. Suppose HTTP status 400 means some client error. So you have to know about all that as well. It's not just programming languages. If you are going to use the programming language for certain stuff, you have to know about what you are going to do. Say web development, so you have to learn about web development methods, HTTP methods, and API development, REST APIs development. Or you have to know. Okay. Now I'm not going to cover in this session, but of course in upcoming, I think third week we're going to learn API development as well. Now, next up is automation. Now, Python get used to developing workflow automation script, including cloud automation and resource provisioning. Now, if you already heard about Ansible short, I mean, I don't have to explain, to be honest, but there are tools available like Ansible, Short, OpenStack, okay, Exynos, which is actually written in Python. If you don't know it now. Learn it now. That using Ansible, what you can do. You can do configuration management. Now, what is configuration management? Configuration management. Suppose you have a Linux or say you have a Linux server. Now that server require maybe Nginx. Maybe you need to update the system apt. I mean the software, existing softwares, or maybe you want to install, say example, HTOP or any software that you want. Could be any software. Okay, I'm just taking very simple names, but it could be Nginx, Apache, it could be any software in general. You can install all that via Ansible or any of these tools that I talked about. And not just installing software. I'm talking about configuration management system. So install, uninstall, restart the systems, maybe change the files, copy your say one from one system, could be local, could be another remote system. From there you can copy files, you can get files, do all the crazy stuff. That all you can do with Python. Again, as I say the beginning, open source community available. Ansible is kind of open source, and all the tools that I just talked about all are open source. So you can go there and source all that, like get all the codes, and you can reuse as you like. It's openly. You can even edit the Ansible codes if you want to. Now that is the automation part I just talked about. Then is the data science and machine learning. I think this is the most hottest stuff in the market. Not just now, it started around 5 6 years back, when I was also learning Python. I was working on some client projects in production projects. That time onwards I was hearing that okay, there is something called data science and machine learning. People are like, there's crazy demand and people making a lot. So I tried my luck. Unfortunately I didn't such make more sense, but there are people who are doing extremely good in this data science and machine learning and making huge, right? So if you understand data science, statistics and all that, this is for you. Of course you have, again, Python basics you have to understand. Then only there are other libraries available. You will use those libraries to make, and your ideas and say knowledge and combining, you're making say machine learning models, applications and all that, right? So yeah, that's a very good use case. And there are modules available like SkyPy, Pandas, IPython, NumPy and all that, where you can utilize all this. Okay, so these are the Python use cases. Now now one question is that where I can watch the previous Python living live. This is the starting of the Python course. So this is the first episode anyway, so you're starting, so don't worry about anything now. Okay, okay. Mm. Now let's go to the next one, which is installing Python. Now go to installing Python is actually very easy. Just go to Python official site, then select what is your OS. Just select the OS and then simply install the OS and use it. Uh, just select based on the OS, install that. Let me show you, then I think it will start making more sense. Okay, now let me show you. Okay, so let's go to Python, then the Python official site. See, this is the download section, so you can go to download, and based on your OS, could be Linux, Unix, could be Mac OS, could be other, or could be Windows. Any OS that you have, you can simply click on that and you can install. Like say, if I install this Python 3.11, and I can just go down. There is, I will find the download here. See here, you have the download. You can just simply download it, and you can see I have this Mac OS 64-bit installer, universal installer. I can just go ahead and install that one. I already sorry, I think I was not sharing the screen. Thank you, Guru. Okay, I hope you guys can see the screen. Okay, so just go to Google. So yeah, mainly just go to Google and search for Python official site, and there you have this Python official, like, welcome to Python org. Go there, and then you see, go to downloads, and just you can click on this. Like, if you say Windows, go for the Windows. If it's Linux or Unix, go for the Linux or Unix. If a Mac OS, go for the Mac OS and other. You can, based on the OS, you can select it. Now, for my case, it's Mac OS, so I will click on the Mac OS, and I can just go ahead and download the release version that I want. Now, and if say your OS is separate, you can just go for other OS. Okay, now I already have Python installed, but let me just quickly download and show you. I think that will be easy. So just install that one, and just let me click on this. Now let me quickly show a screen here. Yep. Then you can just follow the instruction and you can install it. Okay, now I'm not going to install because I already have installed, but you can just install based on your OS. Just follow the instruction, it's that easy. Okay, now let's come to the slide again. And once you install the Python, then you have to follow the next step. Okay, I'm just going to share the next step. Just a moment. Yeah, so if you have already installed Python, it's good. If not, feel free to install that. Okay, and now that you have installed, if not already installed, please do install. I'll just wait for a few seconds. Now that Python, getting started is actually pretty easy. You don't have to add any complicated functioning and all that. Just simply write your code. And I want to show you how to write the hello world, which is the basic hello world.py. I will be coming to more complicated sooner. So just go through this one. Now, before starting this hello world and all, you can edit the code in the notepad also, but that's not suggested, right? You should go for the integrated development environment or IDE based tools. Now there are a lot of good IDEs in the market available. Okay, there is VS Code, PyCharm, Atom, Sublime, Jupyter, and there are a lot of other code. I'm not saying this is Sublime and all those are there, right? So what I personally prefer is this VS Code. So you can go to this site, code.visualstudio.com. Okay, let me just show you really quickly. So go to this site. Oh, okay. Yes, just download. It's because it's my OS is Mac, so it's showing Mac install. It's available for Windows, Linux as well. So you can just go and install that one. Okay. Now let me go to the slide again. Yes. Okay, so just go ahead and install this VS Code. I'll share the link in the comments. LinkedIn also, let me share quickly. If you already not installed, then feel free to go and install there. Posting is one problem, but yeah, I'll post. Just a moment. Just a moment. Now you can just go to Google and search about that as well. That's fine. If you are not able to, then you can just follow this command. Okay. Now there are very good questions available. It would have been good that if I can share the LinkedIn all these comments, but I cannot. So I'll just say one question is that Pranesh saying that what is the difference between shell scripting and Python? Now shell scripting, it's more of the shell, the CLI, right, where you're writing, you're executing the series of commands and some certain maybe move the files, read the file, delete the file, or maybe you can even do shells, like if else conditioning, right? But think about the use cases where you are going to use multiple APIs, or even you're doing database operation. It's so complicated there. Now that's actually pretty easy if you use any high level programming language, where there is an entry of this Python or any third party, or say any backend programming languages, where you can all this database integration, all these API integration are much easier than shell scripting. Shell scripting easy if you're dealing with Linux systems or any Unix system. There you're dealing with some stuff. Shell scripting is fine. But if you're dealing with multiple databases, multiple use business logics or calculation, all this stuff, okay, then any backend programming is fine. Python is one of the most preferred and most famous, right? So that's the difference. Basic stuff, Python is good. Advanced stuff, you need basic stuff. Shell scripting is good. Advanced stuff, you need Python or any third party, not third party, I will say any backend programming. Okay. Okay. Any good questions I want to answer? Good work, bro. Education should be always free. As I always say, it should be free. Now, one question is that now I'm learning data science. If anyone interested to learn, okay, we'll learn together. Yes, anyone contact with Yogi. Any other cannot see? Yes, I missed. Some sort of problem was there, but it's now. I will come to the extension part. Guru had very good question. Like, what extension are you? I will come all that. Now, any other question? Let's see. Any good Python library you're using maps in the application like network analysis? I was using one such. I will come to that later. Shell is code part of the one is that shell is code part of the OS Linux. So all this Linux server shell is mandatory, but Python is programming language. So by application level where shell is scripting language as OS understands. I'll come to that maybe in the end of this. I will talk a bit more. Feel free to ask the questions if you have. Okay. I will definitely come back. Well, let's come to this very good question that Guru asked. So let's come to that one. So yeah, the question is that what are the extensions? So you can use any, if you choose any IDE, there are extension. Okay. Now let me show you. Actually, that will start making more sense. Like if you already have installed the VS Code, then simply come and this screen. Let me just make it a bit. Okay. So if you come to if you install the VS Code and I will just share this. If you go to my GitHub account, you will find it. Maybe after the end of the session, I will share this link so you can get the episode 1, all the sample codes and everything. But yeah, let's come to the extension. So if you go to the extension part, there you will see a lot of extension available. Now search for the Python. Okay. And if you see, this one is actually installed. There's a Python, this Python extension. You can install it. I already installed it. Just install it, then it will start linting. It will give you hints that okay, you might be writing wrong code. Maybe there is some errors which will help you to fix all that. Okay. There are other, definitely other plugins available. You can start experimenting if you found it good or maybe could be helpful for you. But I think for me, programming part, I found it this particular extension enough. So I didn't install any other. If you need, of course you can. But this Python plugin by Microsoft is good. Okay, this is so many people actually use it, right? So okay, that is the extension part. Now let's come back to the my slide. Okay. Now yeah, this is time to write about the very first code. Okay, so I'll just close this one screen. Very first is the hello world, and see how easy it is. One single line, print hello world, and that's it. Okay, that's all you need to simply start it. Okay, so let's come there. Yes, one thing is that Python extension pack. Yes, that's also a good thing if you want to start. Again, based on your requirement, you should be doing all that. But thank you, Guru, for letting us know. Okay, okay. Now let's start our very first program, and then let's see. We'll go to all one by one. Okay, let's come to the code. Okay, I hope you can see the screen. And the very first program is this hello world. It's a very simple one. Print will actually what will happen if you run this Python code. For that you will learn print, then hello world. Now just confirm before running anything. Just make sure you have Python installed. So Python, then if you see here, I hope you can see Python -v, and will print the Python version and all this information. Or you can write exit Python version. Yeah, it will show. Okay, now see, uh, my Mac OS actually had basic Python 2.7 install. Now, this programming example that I'm going to show today is not Python 2.0, it's all Python 3. Now, how to check if you have Python 3 installed or not? You can run Python 3, then dash version, and see it's saying Python 3.10 is installed. So now that Python is installed, this was actually installed by default in my Mac OS, and this one actually installed. I just installed maybe a few days back. Okay, I had 3.8 something running, but then I upgraded. So let's run the first program. It's in the ep1 folder. So ep1, and then you have this hello world. So run Python 3, because I have Python 3 installed, right? So I have to make sure that I'm running Python 3. Python 3, then this hello world. Yes, just simply do that and see it's printing this hello world. And if it's in Java, I think that was so complicated. Even just to print simple, not complicated, it was so many lines to write just to get this simple printing. So that's, I think, one of the major improvement. We don't have to write too much code, just less code, be in the point. Okay. Now let's come here to the slide and let's go to the next thing, that is the keywords. Now if you remember that I was saying about that you need to you cannot use certain certain words or certain things you cannot use as a variable or function name, right? These are the things called keywords, because keywords already have the defined scope, have the defined functionality in the programming language itself, so you cannot use it in other way than is defined. What is it? So Python has reserved keywords, which is Python have multiple reserved keywords which we cannot use as a variable or any identifier, and those have specific purpose use cases, like while doing programming with Python you can use that one. Now list of keywords here, that if else and let's say if, elif, else, or not, with, global, import, async, await, none, pass, return, except, lambda, all these things that you're seeing in the screen, those you cannot use as any variable or identifier. Okay, now if you try to use it, you'll certainly get error if you can see just this particular place. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. I hope you understand you cannot use the keywords than how they're defined you do, or how you're described to, or how you're advised to do. Okay, now let's learn about the variables. Now what are the variables? Now we can utilize variable to store values in memory and use it when you see fit or any use case. Suppose we want to do addition. Okay, for a we are, say the value is 10 and b value is 20. Now we have to add it and store the value in some other variable, so we are defining c is equal to a plus b. So we are using c as a temporary, say all this variable are temporary, so you are storing the value, and we are in the a we are storing value, b is storing value, in the c part we're doing calculation and then storing the value, right? So this, all these variable are used to store the values. Okay, now variable naming, of course any programming language have its own way or own how can I say in the simple sense, its own guidelines to define variables. Okay, and for Python, it's a variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore, like a to z, you can say abc, like smaller a or bigger a, you can go any, or 0 to 9 or underscore. Okay, now variable name must start with a letter and or the underscore character and cannot start with a number. So if you want to start a variable, you can either start with any say alphabet, say a to z, you can use any, but you cannot use say, or even you can use an underscore also, but you cannot use a number there. Okay, now naming convention while naming multi-word variable. So there is okay, one mistake is there in the convention. It should be convention. So yeah, the naming convention while naming multiple word variable. So while naming a multi-value variable, you can use camel case, proper case, snake case. These are the cases actually usually get used, and most popular is the camel case or snake case. You can see the camel case how it looks like. So camel case is like suppose the variable name is my var name. So my, then v is the capital, then var, then n is the capital name. That is the camel case. Proper case is, it will start the very first variable also, it will start with the capital M. Say M, like my, so M is capital, then var is v is capital, and n name, n is capital. Snake case, all are small, so my var n I is the n. So yeah, my var name, and say all are mentioned by underscore. So that is the snake case. These are the convention you can use for defining variables. Then we have the multi-value assignment and output. So Python allows us to use multi-value assignment. You can see in this part here. Suppose we are defining three variables, so x, y, z equal to red, green, and blue, and we are defining y comma, right? So by this way we can define multiple variables in a single line. So and easy, you can see it will automatically assign to the particular respective values. Okay. Now if you want to show the output, you can using the print. So in the using print statement, you can print the value. So any variable you want to you're defining and you want to show the value, you can just do print. Let me quickly show that. Like, it's a basic, but I want to show that how it's get done, because you're just getting started, right? So there is this particular, say, word test, and say I want to print this variable. So print then name. So I can run Python 3, then var test. See, it will print okay. That's it. Oh, I think I'm sharing the wrong screen again. My tools is not working properly, but yeah, we'll handle. So there you can see the programming var underscore test.py. There I just define a variable called name is equals to okay, and I just simply use print to print the value of the name. Okay, so just if you want to run the program again, so Python var underscore test.py, and will print the value okay. You say hello world as a variable, so we can do hello world as well as variable, and we can again see it's hello world. Okay, so this is how we can define the variables, and you can use a print to print the variable value as well. Okay, now let's come to the slide. Now we understand how we can use variables, right? Now let's understand about the data types. So what are the data types? So while defining variables, or not just the okay, zoom a bit. Let me check if I can zoom a bit or not. I think this is the max I can. Okay, I think you are talking about the okay. I think yes, it's visible. Just for the code part, maybe I will just make it a bit bigger one. Just a moment. I hope that is more than enough. Okay. Okay, now let's come to the slides. Yeah. Close this one. So first is the numeric value. So when you define variables, or just think about the value way, that there are integers, like for the numeric part, there are integers, there are floating point, there are complex number in Python, like defined as int, float, complex classes. Okay, so the moment you are thinking about integer value don't have any floating point. Like in the floating point you will have 3.8, 3.20, 3. Any after the decimal you will have some value, right? But for the integer, it's just that integer. So the number part, the main before the decimal part. So when I'm talking about integer, it doesn't have any fraction value. That's it. Okay. And floating point, that will have some kind of dot, something like say 3.5, 4.5, this kind of values. Okay. And all these integer, floating point are actually defined as a int, float, and complex classes in Python. Now if you don't know what are the classes and all, don't worry, we'll be learning about them in the future session. Now there's a numeric part. You have this kind of numeric value. You can see a is equal to 7, b is equal to 3.8, which is a float, c is equal to 5, which is a complex value, right? Then there are second part is that, or second type of data type is that string. So the string is a sequence of Unicode characters, and string in Python are represented with a single quotation is a Sandeep, or double quotation, like in double quote, then Sandeep, defined as a string class in Python. So if you check the type using this type one, okay, and that one you can see what is the actual type there. Okay. Now the next type is a list, tuple, and set. Now what is this list, and what is this tuple, and what is this set? Okay. Now lists are used to store multiple items in single variable. Is in a mutable ordered sequence. Item are separated by comma, and inside this third brackets, and the index start from zero. Now what all this means? It simply means that you can have the like array. If you use any programming language before, it's just simple as array. But here the part is that it's a normal array. Okay, so normally you can, in an array, you can have, like, say you have in a bucket, you have 20 apples, right? You can take one apple out, you can add one, instead of apple you can just add one, for example, orange inside that bucket, right? So that's how a list you have. Okay, list, you have a lot of items. Okay, and you can remove the item, you can take the apples out of the list, and you can add the item back, could be any item, right? Now what is here is that you are able to take things out and take things in, right? That's mutable. You can make changes to the bucket, you can make changes to the list, right? But what are tuples then? So tuples are used to store multiple item in a single variable, is an immutable or unchangeable order sequence. So what that means, that you have a locked bucket. So you, of course, in the list you have values and items, but you cannot take anything, you cannot put anything. It's just a item box to you. Okay, so we have a list to you, that you have the list but you cannot make the modifications. Okay, then what is a set? Now set is a collection of unordered, unchangeable, unindexed, unique items. Okay, so suppose again list, or say in a box, for example, in a box you have one apple, one orange, one banana, right? Okay, these are all unique items. It cannot have a same item double time or multiple time. All are unique. That is a set or unique list. Okay, so these are the kind of list you can have in Python. And for example, I'm just going to show you. See, this one, you have list, simple list, red, green, blue, and say 4, 5, 6. As I say, you can have in a list you can have orange, banana, or whatever you want, and it can be duplicate values, no problem. So it's a simple list, a simple array. Okay, then you have tuple, where you can see here also it's kind of list that you can have string values, or say numeric values, or any values that you want. Okay, just like in a bucket you can have uh, now, for example, you can have a banana, orange, and everything else, like everything, but it's a lock bucket. So kind of there is a key to it. You cannot pull things out or put things in. Okay, now there is a set. Now set is a simple set, and you can see 4 to 1. It has to be like, say, unique item. Okay, you can see duplicates are not allowed there. So that's the list, tuple, and set. I hope you understand. This is how, this is the max easy way I can explain, to be honest. Okay, now go to the next slide. Well, on the next data types, next you have boolean. So what is a boolean? Boolean represent two values, true or false. Define, like, if you type the print of the value, or type, like, you can use type, then in second brackets, sorry, in the first bracket you can give the variable, and that will tell what is the type. If you do that, you'll see the class will be boolean or bool. Simply true or false, that only the two values can a bool support, or boolean can support. Okay, then you have the mapping or dictionary type. Now, and this dictionary are used to store values in key value pairs. So all this means, if you ever work with JSON, in the JSON you can have this key value pairs, right? This is kind of that JSON representation. We call it here dictionary, where, say, you can have like this, a person, then the person name, age, location, and this in person dictionary you can have any kind of value. Say, I can, inside that, but I can set item name, which is a string. I can have the age, which is integer. I can have, say, list values also if I want, right? Now, and this every key item will have a different data type. Okay, so this is, we call dictionary. Just you can think, or you can example as your normal JSON data. It's kind of JSON representation here as a dictionary. Okay, Now the next thing is the type conversion. Now you can actually convert the type of the variable value. Okay, so what I'm meaning by that, it just simply means that you can have say integer, which is the name. Suppose you have a decimal value 3.19, or say 7.9 for example. Now I don't, for some reason I just don't want this integer, this decimal values. I just want to take the only number 7. I just don't want the zero point 0.9 part. I can use integer, and in that way from the 7.9 I can just get the 7 part. Similar way, suppose there is a string 12. Okay, I mean, want to do some calculation with this. I mean, but string we will be not allowed to do any calculations, right? So what we can do, we can simply convert that string 12 into a integer using this int conversion. So this, what does this mean? That converting the value of one data type into another data type is called type conversion, and doing so via Python constructor called the casting. And typecasting can be done via this method that I'm just explaining, right? Int, then there is a float. Now float is kind of, suppose you have this floating number 7.9, and if you do type float, of course it will still be saying 7.9, but say and of course it supports the so if you suppose you want to convert this integers like 5 to floating, you can do that as well. It will be changed to the floating type. And there is any string, for example, could be 12.50 or 18 point, any point values or fraction values, you can convert using float. Say c is equal to float then the value. Okay, similarly you have string. Suppose you have say any data that's say coming as say number, and you want to store a string for any reason. It could be any reason you want to store at text, so you can use string and then the number, or could be any value that you want to convert to any value. In this is either number and the string, you can convert to string and save in the store in the variable. Okay, these are the three say type conversions, and there are two other like this, not other there is two type of conversion: implicit and explicit type conversion. Now what is implicit type conversion? Implicit type conversion, where Python automatically convert one data type to another data type. Now Python promote this conversion of the lower data type, say integer, to the higher data type float. Suppose you are going to add one integer, say 5 with 6.5. Okay, then it will automatically check, okay, the another variable value is 6.5, right? So convert this 5 to instead of integer to float, so that the calculation can happen. So Python do that conversion automatically. Now explicit type conversion is this type of conversion that user must we as a user or programmer must convert the data type to the required data type using the predefined function. For example, string. So you have a string where you have 12.5 or say 18 point something like point data, and that you're adding with some another say 2.5, which is actually float. Now if you were to add these two things, it will get error, right? Because so the different data type. So there you need to convert the data, the string, into a float value first, then you can this calculation will work. So that is a explicit type conversion. Okay, now I hope you have the better idea of how this type conversion, variables and all this, right? We are getting there. We are learning a few, I mean we are slowly learning things more. Okay, now we have learned about these variables and all. I can show you demo, but this is pretty basic stuff. If you want, I mean you can simply, in my code samples, all this basic sample are there, all the type check for the list, dict and all that. I will not waste your time showing all the basic stuff. You can simply check this. I'll just share the repo link so you can just try all that out by yourself. Okay, consider it as your homework. Okay, now let's come to the slide again. Okay, so next thing is that operators. So operators are like, what do I mean by the operator? There are certain types of operators. First is that arithmetic operator. Now what are the arithmetic operator? Arithmetic operator are used for numerics values to perform common mathematical operations. What are the common mathematical operations? Like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, exponential, floor, this kind of stuff. Okay, all this normal calculation you do with calculator. Say for example, you are developing a finance application where you need the values to be calculated, or could be any application that you need to calculate the values to do certain stuff based on your the requirement and business logic that you want to put, you need to use this kind of arithmetic calculator to get the value, to calculate the value. Okay. Then you have comparison operators. So what is comparison operators? Now these are the separate use case, which is using as a conditional. Now what are the conditional? Suppose we want to check it's equal to value, so we can use double equal sign to confirm two values are equal or not. We can use not equal, so we'll use not, or say explanatory then equals. It will check these two values are non-equal, yes or no, that kind of stuff. Like it will give you, it will respond to you as a boolean value. Okay. Then you have less than symbol, sorry, greater than symbol. It will be used to compare one value is greater than other value or not. Then you have less than value, which will check that one value is less than other value or not. Okay. Then you have greater than equal value, which will check one value they're supplying have a greater than or equal value from another value or variable or not. Okay. Similarly, you have less than equal, which will check the value is less than equal to another variable or not. Okay. So you have all these comparison operations. Then you can see the example also, like a equal b or not, a not equal b, a greater than b, a less than c, a less greater than equal b, all these operators. Okay. That is the comparison operators. Okay. Then you have logical operators. So what are the logical operators? So logical operators are used to combine conditional statements, like true if both statements are true, and true if one of the statements are true, or reverse the result, any multiple condition that you want to add, and all those cases only. For example, a greater than b, sorry, a greater than 5 and a less than 10. So we're combining two conditions all together. Okay. Or we can say that a equal 20, or a equal, so it should be a double equal 30, which is checking either a is 20 or either is 30. Okay. And here you are checking not, so not a less than 10 and a greater than 7. So this multiple combining multiple conditionals you can do using logical operators. Okay. And there is a logic table, which is a kind of a logic gate. If you have in past, when if you study the programming and all, not study programming, computer science, you would have seen this logic gate. Okay. I think these days this kind of logic gates also included in very pretty HAs or higher secondary or college educations also, and I'm not so much sure, but I think it should be there. So this defines, like, if both are true is true, if true and false then it become false, then false and true become false, false and false is false, true or true is of course true, true or false. So these are the logical gates, or logic gates you are we taught in the while we was very less age. So you should be remembering this while doing this logical operator. While using these logical operators, you should have this in mind. Okay. Then you have identity operators. So identity operators are used to compare the objects. So object in the sense what? Object in the sense, if you have a dictionary, okay, then it makes sense. So true if both variables are the same object is true if both variables are not the same object is not. Okay. So is and is not. See, for example, a is b. It's saying that a and b both objects are equal or not, and it check a is not b. This checks that a not equal to b, or a is not the same object as b. So those cases you want to use the identity operator. Okay. Now your day-to-day use cases, most probably you will be either getting, you will be using arithmetic operators, you will be using comparison operators, you will be using the logical operators. Okay. Identity operators are rare use cases. Okay. Where you have to use it. That's kind of thing, but very less use case. Okay. Now the next part is the operators. So this we're talking about the operators only, but these are the bit more advanced operators, which is called membership operators. So there, this membership operator is used to test if a sequence is presented in an object, true if sequence with the specified value is present in this object class. For example, x in e. Now suppose you have one dictionary, or it's a JSON in your mind. If you have used JSON before, think about JSON. You want to see one key exist in the JSON or not. Say I have a object, for example, where say I have a dictionary where I have a name, age, address. You want to see that in that dictionary I have the address or not. Or even more simpler example. Suppose you have a student dictionary. Okay, in student dictionary you are sharing student name, age, class, address, and parent data. Now you want to check that student address present in this particular dictionary or not. You can check the address in the dictionary name, say student data. Okay, those kind of way you can compare that one key exists in another dictionary or not. Okay, and you also can check if that key is not exist. So if x is not in y, so that address not exist in the that student dictionary, that you can check. Okay, then you have bitwise operator, so and or nor, this kind of are bitwise operators. Okay, then you have assignment operators, like we assign the values, those kind of cases. Okay, so assignment operators equals, plus equals to, which is add the value with the existing variable. Then you have into, equal to, slash equals to. These are the assignment operators you can use for the value assignment. Okay. Okay, so we now covered this, Python operators, Python, the type conversion and all. If any questions, I will love to see. Let me quickly check if any questions there are not. You can ask in the either in the YouTube or in the LinkedIn. LinkedIn, but I cannot show. I don't know why. But yeah, YouTube I can see. I think this guys should include the YouTube, LinkedIn also. This the streaming software that I'm using. But yeah, one question is that can we develop script using Python? Yeah. I mean, see, if you write program in Python, you can run that program as in shell scripting also. I mean, of course, we use shell scripting only to start executing the Python script. So behind the scene, you're using shell scripting. That's why I teach you shell scripting before Python, because whatever programming you execute, ultimately we will be using shell script, or say either shell scripting, or we can in terminal we will execute directly, right? But in the production use case, it not you use manually trigger the applications to start. Use shell scripting to start, install the dependencies and all that, right? Okay. Let me see any other questions. I see no questions. You can feel free to ask any question either in LinkedIn or in the this YouTube feed. Okay. Now let me go back and check. Okay. Let me go back. Now we'll learn about the conditionals. So let me quickly show this one. So we are coming to the if else statement. Now, what is this if else statement? So we as a programmer, okay. It's good. Sandip, coffee or water break for all and you. I think a live session you need a lot. Okay. Hmm. Now, yeah, if you want anyone want coffee or water, feel free to do that as well. Okay. Okay. Now I think we can start the if statements. Yes. Okay. So when to use? So when you have to execute a code only if the certain condition matches or satisfied. Now, why even we use this kind of if else statement? See, the reason being that while doing programming, ultimately you are implementing a business use case or business logic. You're programming a business logic. If suppose, for example, you are going to charge a user, okay, in via your Python programming, you want to charge a card, okay, so that you have to first check using if condition. If suppose you're going to charge $100, for example, then is that account does have $100 or more than that? If doesn't have the $100 more, then you should not even charge the account, isn't it? um or suppose you are going to check a user have a valid session, like valid login session or not. If user have the authentication and have the valid session token or not, then only you're going to allow the user to continue. So those kind of conditions, any condition you want, if you want to validate any condition, then you should use this if condition. Okay, if else and else conditions. Now Let's learn about the basic all this basic condition. First one is that if condition. If you see here, say for example, Python relies on indentation and white. This is the or white spaces at the beginning of the line to define the scope of the code. If not done properly, it will throw error. Just as a warning. Okay. So here, if say we are defining a is equal to 10, b is equal to 15, and we are checking if b greater than a, then only like say print b is greater than a. Okay. Now let's quickly let me show the code. I think then it will start making more sense if you're new to the coding and all. Let's clean the screen. Okay. Now I think I have this example of the if conditions normal. So let me actually comment out this code. Now this is all to save my time. Otherwise, if I start from the very basic, it will become more longer session. Okay, I want to just reduce the timing. Now here suppose A is 50 and B is 20. Now if B greater than A, then only B will print. Okay, B is greater than A. Now if we try to check like run this code, say Python 3, then if condition sorry, not dynamic, normal. Let's just rename. Okay, dot py. Okay, now see, it didn't print anything. Okay, that means that b value is actually not greater than a. Now let's make this a value change to 10 and b value 20. Now if we try to check this command, see, b is greater than b. So any conditional like basic or say advanced also later on, you can have this kind of conditions and say if you this kind of condition you can simply check not just values like see the numeric values. You can have string conditional values, you can have object condition, like we will come to all that. Okay, now this is a pretty basic example, I will not waste too much time on that. Now let's come to this else statement. This is when suppose like if the condition doesn't match, you might want to show the user, okay, like see what you're looking or what you want is not going to happen, or to throw error to the user. Then you use this kind of the else part, which is the default part coming if the condition doesn't match. So for example, here I'm checking a is equal to 20 and b is equal to 30. I'm checking if b is equals to b greater than a, then we'll say b is greater than a. Now for example, let's make it 40. Now what happened, this condition part will check, syntax part make sure that if, then the variable space, give the space, and then give the variable condition just how you want. And see, most people beginner, when you come to the offline training, they miss this part. Okay, this colon part they miss. So make sure that you don't like, make it a practice that you don't miss this one. And in else part also they miss this one, so don't miss this one, otherwise it will say, if you miss this one, it will say it's giving error, right? See, expected this. Okay, if you use this this IDE and use this plugins or extension, say Python extension, then it will give you hint when the error happens. So for example, I missed this here, so it'll like give you this kind of error, which then you can fix it, right? So yeah, now if you try to run the code, it will say that okay, a is actually greater than b, so say a is greater than b. Okay, so let's run it. So it's printing a is greater than b, this one, because of course the value is a is greater than b, right? This is the if else condition. Now for example, if you want to check if doesn't like either a can be greater than say b can be greater than a, or a can be greater than b, but what if a equals b, then you want to show something else. So this is a multi-level condition. Suppose when you're going to charge a user, you are checking that if the user have the $100 or not. But if there's a $50 available, then we will charge $50 and we will charge next 15 maybe after some time based on the availability. Then what? So you need more conditions, right? So for those cases, and not just that, suppose you are checking suppose someone going to purchase a book from the inventory, okay, via your APIs and all. then you're checking how much suppose user at the beginning trying to buy one book, okay, and you have the one inventory, it's fine. Suppose next time any other users trying to buy say five book, and that one on time of showing you had that checking, but suddenly what happened that few book more got added. So if you check, okay, if the five condition is good, and or if you check that more than five books available, then you just give a hint to the user, okay, see more books available. So now this is just example. You can have any certain condition or any condition at all that you want to have, like multiple condition. Just like the example here, I'm first checking b is b greater than a or not. Then we're checking if a is equal to b or not. All these things. Now this, if we do execute this code now, it will say, see b is greater than a, right? And it will say b is greater than a, and you can check, okay, b equal not a variable. I mean, I'm using variable, that doesn't mean that you can only compare against a variable. That means variable is a way, or you can directly compare against a value as well. So if you run this code again, it will say b is greater than a, right? But see, why this condition doesn't work? Because b is what, a integer, right? And this is a string, so it doesn't, that's why it doesn't match. If we want to match this one, we have to make this integer. Then if we do, see, base value is 30. So while adding conditional even against the value, you have to make sure using a proper type of value. So if it's dynamic value coming, so that then also you can do all that. Okay, now you can convert the value to integers, like say for example this 30 value coming as a string or variable. Okay, say here some value. Okay, then for example is coming as 30. Okay, now I teached you a few slides back that you can convert the type. Okay, so you can actually convert to this. Let me show you that part. I think I will, otherwise you guys will lose the track what I was talking about. So what I was talking about is this type conversion and casting. See, you can use int, float, and in string, all those things to change the do the type conversion. That you can do here as well. So come here, the code. Yes, so int. Instead of using that, we'll be using a variable, right? Now if we use the compare, see b's value is 30. So this condition working. See, even if it's string value that is coming, you're doing the type conversion. Now this is a some kind of practical use case you are observing. Okay, now if you want to the b value is also, I mean a value is also 30, then if this condition will not match, then it will come to this condition, else if. Okay, else if a equal b, then a and b are equal values. So it will say a and b are equal. And if that is also doesn't match, say a is greater than b, then for example I'm giving a is 50, and if you try that, say a is greater than b. So this is how we can use if else condition, like if else if and else conditions. So multi-level conditions we can apply. Okay, now we have learned the if else statements. It's time to go for the loops. Okay, and we are very close now. I think it's already okay 1 hour. Hopefully within next hour it will be all complete. So yeah, this is the for loop. Now the for loop in Python used for iterating over a sequence or a list. Okay, it could be a list, it could be a tuple, or it could be even dictionary. All is possible. Now suppose you are looping, you are going through one by one values and you want to break from the loop. Okay, you can do that using a break statement. And suppose you want to continue say current from the any iteration, then you can use the continue statement. Okay, let's quickly go through. Now if you want, you can use the else statement in the, like say after iterating through all the values, you can have the else statement as well, and you can go through the range of values as well. Now what is, like, let me just go through the samples as well. So normally, for example, if you have colors, say colors is a list value. Okay, see this third brackets means it's a list. Okay, now colors is equal to red, green, and blue. Now we are iterating through all the color values, that is for x in color, So then print x. Now before print, actually there is a tab or white space there, otherwise it will throw error. I think I should show you in the actual coding, otherwise you might not get the view of it. Okay, so there is a loop, should be a loop there, loop example. Yeah, for loop example. So I have the exact what I'm showing there. Let me just comment out everything. This, okay. So we have colors red, green, and blue. Okay, then we are doing for x in colors. Okay, and then see there is a either white space or tab. What you want to use, you can use this. Indentation is indentation. However you want to achieve that one is up to you. Tab, I think, most preferred one. Okay, so then is printing x. So first in the color is a list. Okay, in this list you are we are iterating using for loop. So for x is the iterator which is hold the temporary value of while looping through one by one. So in the color is the this list variable. So for x in loop, so for x iterator in the color, it will keep looping through till all the items are or are done, or it's loop through end to end. Okay, so let me show you Python 3, then for loop example. Okay, see it will print first green, then sorry red, then green and blue. This is how you run through different loops. Okay, now, and of course you can have the break statement. So for example, let me just comment it down. If you want to check the break statement, this one. So colors red, green, blue. Okay, for x in colors, if x equals green, then break it. Okay, so that means then this loop will not complete, it will just break in this green level. So let me show you Python, the same thing again. For loop example, see it just print the red part and not even print the green, because there we just break the loop, right? Similarly you can do continue also. So let's just go. Okay, I think I just have to this one also. Let's run it. Yep, the so we x we just continue, we didn't print it. So see print statement is actually after this continue statement. So what happens, that the moment you have this continue, that means this loop is done, don't process any further, simply move it to next item. Okay, that's why when x is green, this doesn't come to this print x part, is didn't printed the red part, because it skipped it, it's instructed to the loop that move to the next item. So next item is green and then blue, right? So it printed uh, that. Sorry, I think I did one mistake. What happened that I mean not mistake. So first item is actually red. That's why it's printed red. X equal green. So if it come to the second item, which is the green, so green only, it come and it saying okay that okay don't proceed any further, just move to the next item. That's why it moved to the next item, which is next value iterator, which is blue. Okay, so this is how you using the continue statement, you can skip one iteration. Like say you can instruct the loop to immediately move to the next iterator. Okay, let's skip the block. Okay, then you have the else statement. I think this is one of the important part. So else actually pretty basic stuff. It's that you after you're done doing so all the iteration, if you want to exit the execution or whatever you want to do, you can simply use this the else part. So let's do that. See, it's all iteration done and simply saying all item process. Okay. So these are the for loop statement. I hope you have the better idea now of this for loop. Now let's come to the while loop. So what is the while loop? The while loop, we can iterate and execute a set of statement as long as the expression is true or condition is true. Now here also you can use break statement to stop the execution, and if you use the condition statement, then it will skip the current item, it will move to the next item. Okay, or skip the execution block. Then you have the else also, just like for the for loop you had that else at the end, it will just do execute the else statement or code else code part. You can do here also, and you can see the example here for, say, example, normal example where you don't have any break, continue, or else thing. It's simply I is equal to 0 and I less than 10, it will just move through and it will start printing, and I plus equal 1, so it will keep adding, assigning the plus, so it will give like 1 plus 1 plus 1, it will become like that. The moment I value is greater than 10, it will continue. The moment I value become greater than 10 or equal to 10, it will stop execution. I think let me quickly show, then it will start making more sense on that. So let me come to the while while loop example. So let me close this one. This is the basic example. So Python 3, then while loop example, and see, it printed from 0 to 9, so 0 to 9, and the moment I values it want become the 10, then it's stop the execution, stop the loop. Okay, so this is the another way you can do conditional looping, and here also you can apply break statement, continue statement, else statement, just like for the for loop. Okay. Okay, now is the functions. So what are the functions? Now function is a block of code that only run when it's called. So you can write as many function in a, I mean, you want in the Python file, but it will not execute till you call the function. The moment you call the function, then the execution of the particular function block will start. Okay, and in function we can pass parameters. So we can pass any data known as parameter into a function, and a function can return certain data as a result. So if you pass any parameter in the function, and you certainly have the option to get as a something as a response. Okay, now then you have like how to call the functions. So we can call and execute a function by the name of the function. And now while I'm talking through all that, just simply check that functions, you can see here all the, let me quickly confirm. So function is a very basic functions that define, like using def keyword we define the function. So def, and you can see I mentioned here also, so def my hello world function, where if you like, it's currently not any accepting any parameters. If you want parameters, you have to mention in the top. Okay, now def my hello world function print hello world. So if you call like, this function, then only this will print hello world from a function. If you don't call the function, it will not. And how to call the function? You just have to like, have the name, like use the name and then this first brackets, and the function will execute. Okay, now passing argument. So information and data can be passed into function as assignment or argument, can be name, or it can be a name argument as well, inside the parenthesis separated by comma. If not sure, like if you are not sure how much argument will be there, you can add a star before the parameter name, so it will become name parameter. You can pass as many parameters as you want. Okay, and return value. So you can see just the return statement. For example, this sum a and b, in the parameter supplying a and b, then we are returning a plus b, so it's returning the sum value of a and b. And of course, just to say that in the end there is assignment, calculator assignment, where you have to do calculator script. Okay, so use this kind of function, say some function, there should be subtract function, there should be a multiple function, and you'll have all the function. Then in the command line you will be taking input from the user using read to take the input and ask the user what you want to do. You want to add two numbers, you want to divide two numbers and all that, and return the value and print the value. Okay, that will be the assignment. Just I'm saying now itself. So let me show a very pretty basic of the function so that you can try next onwards. Let me come here. If you see the function example, okay, and for example, I have enabled this code. Okay, now what if I try to execute this code, and you see nothing will happen. Okay, so function example, that means okay, all codes are commented. Okay, see, it printed nothing, it doesn't, no execution happened. Now if you want to call this function, That means you have to give the, this is the name, like def my hello world function, right? You have to give have the, or put the name of the function and then parentheses or first brackets. If you do that, then only it will start executing the code. See, now the execution happened, right? So this is how you can start calling the functions. Also, you can define a function and then calling it. Is very pretty basic. In real life, we do write a lot bigger functions, all bigger or smaller based on the requirement. Like I intend or anyone intend to write is a big function. It's that, that's the demand of the requirement. Okay. Now, if you want to supply any parameter, how can you do that? It's actually again pretty basic thing. Make sure when writing function, you give the indentation, which will define, like the moment you start indenting your code, that's part of this particular, or say that's the main function block. Okay. So here you can see the function name is greet person, and there I'm giving just Sandeep. I'm passing the name. So in the in the function parameters, you have to define. You should be defining what are the parameters that you're supplying. So for example, name. So I use this function name, so greet person. Then it's a string value that I supplied Sandeep, and it will print the, say, hi Sandeep. So let me execute, and you will have the idea. So yeah, see, I execute this function example. It simply call this greet person function, and there it have the value name, and it printed the hi Sandeep. Okay. So this is the pretty basic functions. You can do some also. Some example is there where we are doing calculations, and one thing, using something. Let's see that one. Be careful. You have to define the function and then call it. Yes, that you have to do anyway. Okay. Now there is multiple parameter. I think, yeah, multiple. Just how you, if you want to pass multiple parameters, you can give the comma, and then you can keep passing. Okay, the first name, the comma, last name you want to add, address and everything. Just give a comma and keep passing the variables. Okay. Now let's just me show you. Anyways, pretty busy. So first name is Sandeep, and last name is the Das. So Sandeep Das. Hi, Sandeep Das. Okay. Now if you want to say pass on as an arbitrary argument, that is actually kind of useful if you are not sure what are the values can be. Okay. So for example, here I want to pass an arbitrary argument using a star. So you're using a star symbol or asterisk. Star, I'm not saying, it's actually asterisk. My bad habit of saying it's star. So yeah, this asterisk symbol you're supplying with the colors variable, and you see, here's my colors. You are giving red, green, and blue. Then this is a, like, ultimately when you are not sure about the like how many parameters can be there, you're not sure about that, you can actually convert the all the parameters like a list value, and you can iterate through it if you want to. Okay, so that is what happening here. So in colors, I'm just supplying red, green, blue. I'm not sure how many parameters could be there, so simply supplying there. And then in the print, I'm just printing the first item. Okay, you can just print all. If you can, how to run the loop, right? I just show you a few minutes back. So you can do that and run through all that to check what are the values you have. You want to, maybe it's a list of or array, or say number of items, or say number supply. You can do sum, multiplication, like based on the use case you'll be doing simple or complex operations. Okay, so let's do that. And the second item is the green. Okay, so because it always remember array, or say this list item values start from 0. So since I'm printing the 1, that means it's the second item. Okay, start from 0. Who don't have a programming background, they do face this problem because they miss this part that, okay, it's always start from 0. Who start as a programmer, who has some programming experience before, they know it. Okay, now if you are not sure about what are the parameters, but you want to make sure that it's the name parameter. So whatever the value is getting passed, all are the name parameters. So like this. So red is equal to red color. Say blue is like, so it have a key and value defined like this. Okay. In those cases, you can do double star or double asterisk. Okay. So double asterisk, then colors, where you can just call, like, again, it is also going to be converted to a list item, but here you can call like associated list. or say arbitrary arguments which will be parameterized list. Okay, so see, red is equal to red color, blue is equal to blue color, green is equal to green color, and you can just simply, because it's a named like say, it's kind of a, it's a variable kind of stuff, right? So the variable becoming a key. So the list key is that red, blue, and green, right? That's why if you like, let me execute the code, you'll say the first color is actually red color, first item, because that's how you define. Even if I made this say first item I want to convert, okay, that is also, if I put red, because it's a name parameter, the it should be a second color is, see, it's a red color because it's a name parameter. Doesn't matter if you are changing the order or not, it's that it is what it is. Okay, okay, think that's done. This is actually pretty basic again. Mm, where you can do sum and you can returning a value, so you can return the value after calculation, whatever you want to return, you can use the return this keyword and then the value that you're returning. Okay, for example, I'm calculating sum and returning, and if you see the class, it's actually int. Okay, um okay, now let's come to the next slides, and we are pretty near, only two slides remaining. It actually is kind of a quick session. I was expecting it to be more than 2 hours, but it's not more than 2 hours. Be happy about that. Okay, now is the another most important topic in Python, which is the modules. And to be honest, as a production level DevOps engineer, or I'm a program. I do work on Python programmings, all of the programmings, but I do work on Python programmings a lot these days. And there, what is the most useful thing, is modules. I'm using modules a lot for test cases, for programming application. We're writing modules and sharing with the people and all. So question comes to, what exactly is a module? So a module, let me first align me properly. There. Okay, so the module is a Python, like in module in Python is actually a file which contained function, statement, and definition, just like a code library. Only thing you should not do, you can define function, fine, you can define code and everything, define fine, but you should not start executing in the modules. In that case, what happen, if you, like, if you define the function, it will not get, not get executed till you call the function. If you define some variable, some statement, it will not get called until you call it, right? It can just execute, but it will not do any certain stuff. But if you start calling the function in the same Python file, it's not a module anymore. It's actually, you can use it as a module, but what will happen, when you call the module, it will start executing the code, which is wrong. So what you should do, make sure you don't start executing the content of a module like Python file, then it will be not considered kind of a module. In module, just define stuff, functions, statements, and all. Then you call that module, like import the module and call the functions. That's the right way or right approach to use it. Okay. Now, like while we're talking about the modules, module in Python was now that it's contain function, statement, just like any coding library. But there are two types of modules. Okay, system module and custom module. What is system module? So Python actually come pre-packaged with lot of modules inbuilt. We call it system module. For example, OS module, JSON module, and a lot of other modules there. I will just quickly show you a quick list. I think that will help you to understand that one. Give me a 1 minute, okay? There. I hope I can. Let me see if I can share the screen or not. Yes, you can see here. There's docs Python, then Python 3, then Py module index. Here you'll find lot of modules, which is like base64, calendar, date module, email module. Like if you keep going on, like, Python comes with a lot of pre-packaged modules. Okay, that's why you want to maybe check once, if you're going to work with Python before, like what are the system, like most important system models available. Okay, even XML packages, modules available with Python. So a lot of system model. What is the most important one, I will say this. I mean, have used so far, not I will say, uh, is that OS module. Okay, OS module actually kind of a module I use a lot for, say, file manipulation, directory creation, deleting file system, and interacting with the file system. Okay, and a lot of other use cases are there. So you might want to check this particular module a lot more. It will be useful for you. In the next session also, we're going to use a lot this OS module part. Okay, now let's come to the slides. So yeah, you now understand what I'm talking about, the this uh, this system module, right? Now what is the custom module? Now custom module is simply a Python file. You have written function, you have written say conditional whatever statements, okay, but you do not call there. Okay, you define there, then import the module in another Python file, and then call the function from that another Python file, not the actual Python file where you have the function, everything. Then we can call it that's a module. Okay, module have functions, statements, all the stuff required, and you can reuse in other Python programming or other application use cases. That is a custom module. So let's go with the a bit bookish one. We can use modules to break down large programs into smaller, manageable, and organized files. And furthermore, modules provide the reusability. And this is true. I mean, if you write modules, you can use or reuse that modules multiple times. That is the reason you have the modules available in the market, and you can use just import the module, and you can use and install the module using pip, and then you can start using the module. Okay, those are the third party modules. I mean, if you can write custom module by your own also. Now extension, okay, now let me quickly show how this module works. I think again, just to make sense out of what I was talking about, I should give a demo. So custom module, for example, let me this, where is that? Yeah, so I say, for example, this custom module example is it's a module file. Okay, it's a Python file where we have the, say, variable, some variable defined, some functions are there, right? Now if we call this particular function, okay, this not function, this particular file, say Python 3, then custom module example, see, nothing will happen, because we are not doing anything. We are just defining some functions. We are not calling the function in the file. Now suppose you want to call, it's some kind of function that you need to run. This is a demo, right? It's not actual some good use case, but think about that. You have a use case, want to run some function, and you have defined a module, and you want to reuse that module function in some other Python code. That code is, for example, this custom module usage example. Okay, how you can import a module, you have to learn that first, right? So easy way, let's go with the easy way first. So we can import like this, import then that Python file name. So import then custom module example. That's how you can import that file. See, this files, all these things as a object, and this, after say you have this object you can use this object function. Okay, so this object has this how many functions, git person 1, git person 1, git person 2, like so now you can start calling or start utilizing this module's function like this. So if we now execute not the custom module example, but Python 3 custom module usage example, okay, like some other separate Python file, if we do run that, see, hello Sandip. So what is happening here is simply importing this function, this not function, importing this module entire thing, then using the name that you imported, which is the essentially the Python file name, then dot in the sense dot you give to access the properties or access the methods or functions. So dot then the function name. Okay, now suppose I want to access this modules, this particular dictionary. Okay, what you can do, say print then custom module example dot person example. Okay, if we do run that, see it printed name Sandeep, age 20, country India. So yeah, my age is not 20. Let's make it 30. Okay, I don't want to make myself younger than I already look. So um so yeah, this is how you can even access the attributes of this particular module as well. That's how easy it is. Like, when I was learning Python, I mean, some people saying module, oh my god, what exactly is a module? I don't know. But when I start using Python and using module, I say, oh, this is module so easy. Anyone can do it. That's how the feel I wanted to give you. Module is kind of very easy. It's just start writing. It become complex later on, but you can, since you are the writer, you know how this everything works, right? So start small, then you see everything becoming more easy. Okay. Now this is uh, now this is how you can, like, this is one way of importing. There is actually even easier way. Okay, so let's do that. Let me show you how another easier and finer way, I will say. So that, see, previously what are happening, you're importing entire file. Now I don't have to import all this file, to be honest. I just want a particular functions, or maybe I want particular variable or attribute I want to import. Okay, in that case I can just use from statement. It's not that import directly from what is the module name or file name. There you import a particular function and you can create alias. So I'm doing alias as. So if you want to use alias, you have to use as and g person. Okay, that's how you can import import anything from module, and you can import particular function and use as alias and like as g person, and then you can call it. Okay, so let's go the use example and see. Hello Sandeep. Now my spelling is also I don't care about all the stuff, but you should. Okay, that's how the module works. I think, I hope I able to explain you all these modules and all. Okay. Okay, now let's go back to the slides. We are very near. I think we are coming to end of the session, which is good thing. Let's go to the, yeah, here. Try an example. This is the error handling part. Suppose, we make errors. We have conditions where we might face issues. In those cases, you should have the better error handling. So we are not 100% perfect, right? So we'll write program, we'll make errors. So exception handling Python, what it is. So we as a programmer make mistakes, write programs. Python program terminates as soon as it encounters errors. So we want to handle that properly. So that there will be no exiting of the program, and we have to use this except handling. And you can see this code, try and try and then except. This is how we can handle the errors. Okay, we can use else and finally also, like this. Like, no matter what, if the condition fails, some problem is there, we want still something, say a message or maybe a alert to the engineers, so you can just final statement for that. So this is how you handle the try and accept. Okay, I think this is the last slide, to be honest. Let's see any, yeah, the challenges part I want to cover. Let me enable the mic again. Okay, now quickly go to the other tab, and finally is that calculator in Python. So see, I talked about that. I will give some assignment. So first assignment is actually calculated in Python, where essentially you will be writing function add, subtract, multiply, then take number as an input from the user. Use the read statement. If you're not sure, do Google about it. Learn by yourself. That's how we learn things, right? That's the first program that you should do. Again, I will share this document in my LinkedIn profile, so you have this document, and then we can use it. I mean, you can do this assignment and have the references of the basic Python. Okay, and then the second program I want you to write is that calculator script that you've written uses a module in another script. So don't just use that calculator, that file itself as a script. Instead, write as a module, and then reuse the function. Like, adding, subtracting, all that as a module. Okay, in another. So maybe calculator module, write a file, two files. First file should be calculator module where you have the main function, subtracting, adding, and all that. Second function where sorry, second file, say calculator, main calculator file, where you just import the calculator module and use it. That's how you should do it. So that's it. That's is the today's session. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. I mean, it's kind of pretty basics, I know. And see, I cannot reinvent the basics. Basics are basics. But I hope that you have a better idea now about this basics. So let me see if any doubts and everything. I will just quickly check. What is that? Yeah. Can you provide a recording? Yeah, it's available. See, it is available in that, what do you call it? It's available in the YouTube free of cost. Okay, just like other videos from the self scripting I had, right? So if you go to my channel, I'll just quickly show where it's available to make sure that you guys have this. Okay, quickly let me take you through all that. Just give me 1 minute, huh? Let me share it. This sharing always quickly go through. Yeah, this one. See, if you go to my channel, then if you come, like, this is the session going on live. So here, if you see, go to the live section. I know one problem. Someone was saying that Sandeep, it's becoming not in the video section. It's like, why don't you upload in the live? So it's so much of work to be on editing and all that. I don't have that much time these days. But yeah, you can come to this live section, and there you can see it's already 1.3k people watch advanced scripting, 2.5 k people watch that. Sorry, 2.1 sales scripting deep dive. So you can check all this session I have. It's not available in video section. I don't know this YouTube thing. I'll see what I can do. Not sure of what else I can do edit, but it's time taking, as I say. Anyway, you can come to live section and you can see all the videos that I'm doing. Is see started from the day to this essential storage. Then there is essential computer networking. Then there is this cloud and essential LAN essential Linux. Then shell scripting, advanced shell scripting, and then there is. It should be day 6, by the way, or day 7. I'll check that. That maybe I put it 5 as wrong. But anyway, you should come to this live screen for all this recording. It's already there. Let me see any other. Yeah, if you have any doubt, feel free to let me know. This is the time when, if you have any doubt, just let me know. I will quickly check. Can you develop scripts using Python? I mean, that's I told you. Yes, you can do that. You're not showing. Hello, Sandeep. Thank you. Can you provide recording session? Yes, I will definitely do that. It's already there. Any questions? If not, then I will drop the session. But yeah, if you're on the LinkedIn watching this, I'll be happy that if you can follow. See what happens that I cannot accept any more connections. Unfortunately, my 30,000 connection limit reached, so I cannot. Okay, so I cannot do that anymore. But what you can what we can do, you can message me if you have any requirements, any question, and all that. I'm trying to become available these days to answer all that. I see a lot of message pending, so I'm going one by one to answering all that. What else? You can follow me there in the Instagram. You can message me. I reply to a lot of people these days on the Instagram while my post my daughter picture with me. I do that. Anyway, not come to the miscellaneous question. For Python, while learning, the best way to learn actually experiment and practice. So if you're learning Python from me, from other lot of other YouTube channel, a lot of places, very good content there. Suvam doing great stuff in Hindi and both in English. Someone is saying that why don't you study in Hindi? See, मेरा हिंदी स्ट्रांग नहीं है उतना. Okay, so not I can speak in Hindi, I can speak in a lot of languages, not programming, lot of languages, but see, I'm not that strong in Hindi. You will see lot of problem. I don't speak Hindi. I can speak Bengali friendly, that's my mother tongue. So so that I can do, but no, I mean, I can speak, again, I can speak in Hindi, but I cannot formulate ideas in Hindi. I can formulate ideas in English or the Bengali. Okay, because that's the two most used language for me. But yes, I mean, I'm happy to any podcast and all in Hindi. I was actually, planning a podcast with uh, Dheeraj and Vishal and maybe one Ritik, is local of in Kolkata. So I'll be starting a podcast session. Maybe I will start in English, and if there is a requirement later on, I will start in Hindi. That's why I made this studio, to be honest, to start the podcasting along with other things. Yeah, if you, I think, no other doubts and anything like that, so I will drop the session. Uh, but yeah, anytime that you see, one question is that, thank you, can you please make the advanced? Yeah, this is today, this week it was basic Python. Of course, the next week is going to be advanced Python, and then there is API development and cloud, I mean, web development in Python. Then there is practical projects in Python. I think lot of things. Uh, thank you, Guru. Yes, glad you enjoyed. Um, okay, now lot to learn. What I learn, I teach you, maybe with my limited knowledge. Lot to learn in out there. Even in the basics, I'm saying in the basics also there are a lot of out there. With my limited time and limited knowledge, this is what I can do. But you can go explore, start learning, start facing the issues. The moment you start facing the issue and you try to solve it yourself, then you learn in more practical way, more better way. That's how I also try to learn. Experiment, fail, search, get some knowledge, apply it, and then learn. Okay, I will say the exact same to you as well, you guys. So keep learning. If any doubts, feel free to ping me in YouTube, um, and in LinkedIn, or maybe Instagram, wherever you guys want. Okay, I'm available everywhere. Well, everyone, have a nice day ahead, and thank you for staying this long. If you didn't subscribe the channel, do subscribe the channel and put a like on this video, so that I mean, I don't do this kind of, share it and this lot of more like other people, but I would love to see content of what I'm trying to make getting shared with other people, getting benefiting other people. I would love to see that. So please like and share with us so that it become available to other people. Thank you. Have a nice day ahead, and bye.